I'm excited to share my summer love book with you and show you the print quality of the Saal books. This is the extra thick page flat lay with glossy pages. I opted for the recycled ocean plastic cover because of my subject matter, and I thought it would be interesting. I'm actually happier with it in person. Online, they show this super macro close-up of this material, and I was honestly a little worried if printing on it would make, the letters look crisp enough, which is partially why I opted for such large text, but I like how that looks. I tend to make text too large because I like how that looks. But I could have gotten away with doing, smaller text that would probably look just as crisp. And this material, it feels like kind of a slightly slick canvas. But it's not as 3D and raised and textured as I thought, which I'm pleasantly surprised. There's the first photo spread. And this is where I would have done things differently. But this is a me problem and not a Saal problem. And I think I knew that the first page gets glued down to the back of the cover, but maybe I forgot. I have no idea. I don't know why I did this. I do like how everything looks side by side and it was like an even amount, and I wanted like you to kind of just be right into the photo series when you open the book, but if I were to redo this, I would have left this page blank. Even though you're paying for a blank white page, and they do a good job of, making it flat even though it's glued down, but it's still a glued down page. So I don't like that. You could kind of see a little bit here compared to the others. Yeah, I wouldn't have done that. The colors look fantastic though. These two especially, I think, are my favorite color-wise because they just look very true to life. To prep these images, I did increase the saturation a tiny bit and brighten them a little bit and lessen the shadows a tiny bit, just to compensate for printing. But I didn't do anything drastic because I want to keep them true to life. This one looks especially true. There's my recreation there. I would probably have even made this a little bit more saturated, that one. But I like that you can distinctly see the Polaroid edge. And these are all, Polaroids I've scanned. This was on the Polaroid. It's not a filter, so I like that, you can clearly see the expired film, like these yellow tones. Sometimes it's really difficult to print yellow. Yellow ink is the worst, but if you boost the saturation a tiny bit, it looks fine. This one looks a little dull to me. I would, if I were doing this again, make that even more, compensate for that one. I'd have to check the original file and put like a side-by-side for you so you can compare, but that one, a little dull. Again though, the yellows look fantastic and the blues. One thing though I am a little bit, not as impressed by, even though this is one of the flat lay books, you can see it doesn't lay flat. And maybe because it's new, but I'm honestly like a little afraid to push these down, to force them down, because I feel like the center might crack, even though that might not be true. It just, you have that feeling of like, maybe I shouldn't do this. So, and Also, I have a triptych, a pool triptych I was going to use for this book to take advantage of this flat lay, but I'm glad I did not because that would have bugged me. Here's another, you could really see it here. And it could also be because I don't have a lot of pages in this book, but this one I would have made a little bit brighter and compensated for a little bit more if I were to redo this. And this is the last page. Again, I wouldn't advise you to don't have an image on the page that gets glued down. But I do like seeing them together, but I wouldn't have done that. And I'm going to show you, this is the original size of the Polaroid compared to in the book. They look pretty great. I opted for the glossy pages too, partially because I knew that it would look like the real thing. Like you could see how glossy this is. And these look fantastic. Like they look like you could pick them off the page. They're very super glossy, like real life. And I figured that, I want this to kind of just sit on a coffee table like some kind of little vanity book, but I figured if people were turning the pages, if they were, just regular pages, if you get dirty fingerprints on regular paper, you're not going to get that off the page. So I figured this would be a little bit more forgiving. And I opted for these super thick pages. One worry was, would it feel like a little kid's book with cardboard pages that you're flipping through? But it does not. It feels like a very substantial art book when you're flipping through this. Like when it forces you to really like turn the pages gingerly, and I like that. So that's the book and what I would do differently. Hope that helps. And if you like any of these images that you see, I did think it would be fun to show you like the real ones next to them, but everything's really archived and I didn't know if, I should bother doing that. But if that's something you want to see, let me know. I do want to show you the original files so that you can compare the colors and the tones. And yeah, all these images can be made into prints. I have some for sale on Etsy, but you can contact me directly if you're interested. The two most popular ones are these, and they're online now, but yeah. Overall, I'd give it 8.5 out of 10, maybe even a 9 out of 10 if I would have been better at making the book.